Islamic supplementary schools or madrassas like this one in London are now widespread in the UK. The word madrassas has entered the public consciousness, particularly through media exposés, which have highlighted the teaching of extremism and instances of child abuse. But this is not the whole story, and this IPPR research project is the first to look in detail at madrassas in the UK and to examine their wider role in British society. Pupils, parents, teachers and imams have been keen to help us throw more light on this often misunderstood sector.
It's very important to be shown to the whole society that what we're doing is for the benefit for the whole society, and then it will promote a good generation which are proud of their own religion, proud of their culture, and also proud to be citizen in this society and to be a part of the whole society rather than isolated communities within this country. The second one is very important for the Arabs who are their mother tongue is Arabic and brought up in this society. It's very important to keep their culture and their language. And when we talk about the language, mainly we talk about a big baggage of culture, of religion, of traditions, all these kind of things.
The project used literature reviews, a major survey, stakeholder interviews and deliberative workshops to paint a picture of British madrassas. Here are some of the key findings. IPPR estimates that there are around 2,000 madrassas in the UK, with 250,000 children attending regularly. The sector is growing fast, and around a quarter of madrassas report being oversubscribed. Though a big educational sector, madrassas do not rely on state or voluntary sector funding. 90% of funding comes from parents.
It's been very, very interesting in finding some of the findings that we have for this particular research. And looking into the findings, we find that there's a tremendous amount of benefit given to the community, but at the same time they are struggling in terms of resources. In terms of educational attainment, the supplementary schools are doing quite well because they are amalgamating both. When I say both, I mean they are amalgamating the Islamic studies or the religious studies with the national curriculum. So in other words, students are getting support from the supplementary school teachers for the mainstream schools. But at the same time, they are also being given the cultural teachings and most importantly from these institutions, we find that the religious aspect is also covered. So in other words, they have a whole package given to them through these madrasas.
The research did uncover some issues which the madrasa sector needs to address. In 40% of madrasas, there are no staff with a UK teaching qualification of any sort. More worryingly, in nearly 10% of madrasas, no CRB checks on staff are carried out, and a similar number check only some of their staff.
The findings from the research clearly fill a major knowledge gap on madrasas in the UK. One of the key areas for improvement for a number of these institutions is around safeguarding children. However, the research findings also illustrate a perfect example of big society in motion, which has been thriving for over 2 decades. There's an obvious need to capitalise on the good work that's been achieved by a number of these institutions. We also need to start recognising them and engaging with them more as valuable supplementary schools, acting for the benefit of young British Muslims in the UK. The report contains a number of important recommendations for action.
IPPR's Madrassas project has come up with a number of key findings. A national registration scheme for madrassas should be established, coordinated by the Mosques and Imams National Advisory Board, MINAB, which should run a system of independent inspections. MINAB should each year select a list of beacon madrassas around the UK to highlight and spread best practice. All madrassas should be added to local authority directories of supplementary schools. Local authorities should broker partnerships between madrassas and mainstream schools to mentor teachers and share facilities. Madrassas should develop greater links with other faith communities to increase interfaith understanding. Madrassas should widen the education they provide. Their main focus will be religious studies, but other subjects should be taught, such as citizenship. Madrassas should join local consortiums of supplementary schools and the National Resource Centre for Supplementary Schools. All supplementary schools, including faith ones, should be required by law to do Criminal Records Bureau checks on all their staff. The current ban on physical punishment in schools and other children's settings should be extended to all supplementary schools, including madrassas. All madrassas should have child protection policies and health and safety policies.